Welcome to the Acoustic Shop channel. In this video, we're going to take you through an exciting unboxing and an in-depth review of the stunning Atkin 43 Black Pearl. So what we're going to do today is unbox it, go through all the specs, and tell you why this might be the guitar you didn't know that you had to have. And plus, we're going to compare it to all other guitars in its class, rate it from 1 to 5 in several key categories, and of course, let you guys hear what it sounds like. But I can't help falling in love with... So, Jared, let's jump into the specs. These are really cool guitars. This guitar comes in at a price point of $48.99. Now, there is always some variance whenever we deal with Atkin guitars because we have the fluctuation of the British pound and import duties, and everybody wants their take on these, so we have to figure all that stuff out, but it should be roughly around that same price point. It is a slope shoulder Dreadnought, very much like a J43 style guitar. So the tone woods on this particular guitar are actually kind of interesting. It does have a baked Sitka spruce top, which he's been known to do on a lot of this, also known as torrefied or thermo-cured. Maple sides and back. Sounds great for a maple guitar. I'm really surprised on this. Mahogany neck does have the head plate, which is that pearloid material that is actually layered, white, black, white. I love that. Really cool. And I love how he put his logo into that as well. Body binding is pearloid as well. Fretboard and bridge are ebony with a adjustable truss rod and a bone nut and saddle. Tuners wise, you do have the 3 on a, it's not on a, yeah, it is on a plate. 3 on a plate.
Very retro
open
looking.
gear tuners. These are the Clouson style tuners.
Those aren't open gears though. Those are gonna be.
Well, they got the caps. Yeah, I know what you're saying. It is, but it isn't. It's a capped open. Never mind. Anyway, it's not a sealed tuner. Scalloped X bracing, body and soundboard finish are going to be the black aged gloss finish. Now that does have the crackle in it, which is kind of really
finish
cool.
checking.
Some finish checking happens there. Yes. Also the black gloss neck finish as well. Does have a hard shell case that is included. As far as the nut width on this one does have the 1 11/16 or 45 millimeter nut. I think that's how that transfers over. I don't know, millimeters, inches. It does also have the short scale, just like a standard J45 should have. No pickup installed on this, but it is an option, and of course we can always add one here at the shop. So we're going to get into our rating system here, and this is on a scale of 1 to 5 with decimal points in between. Because if we didn't do that, boy, these numbers would all be almost the same.
Almost completely meaningless. But John, let's start out with the tone. Now, just give it our overall impressions so we know where they fit.
All Atkin guitars are just huge.
Yeah.
And this one's got huge low end. Great system, but it also has that Gibson kind of like compressed sound. And I don't know how to explain that, except it is a compressed sound with more sustain. It feels like a vintage Gibson style guitar. So tone-wise, this is actually probably one of my favorite of the Atkin slope shoulder dreads so far. I really do love the sound of this guitar. I find it to be which surprised me, I'm not a black guitar guy. I'm really not. So I love it. I'm actually going to give this a 4.9.
Wow, that's a really good rating.
Yeah, I didn't want to give it the 5.
I think the tone is a great sounding guitar. It does definitely have that old Gibson sound to it. I'm going to be a little more conservative, give it a 4.4.
Don't be conservative, Jerry. You know you like it.
All right. How about the setup and playability? Atkins, I mean, always does a great job.
They do a really, really good job. I will say this for myself. These setups are really low.
Really low, yeah.
Really low. In fact, it seems like they're getting even lower. Now, again, for what I know from most players that do this, we have switched this one up and put mediums on it for me to be able to play, but even still, it wants to just about buzz on me. So, but that's, again, most of the players that would play this guitar are going to find that to be very, very acceptable. There's nothing wrong with this setup. It's just low for what I would do. So I'm going to give it a 4.5.
Yeah, I think it's a really good setup. He's always been consistent, but definitely on the lower side. I mean, that's just the style of players he expects to play his guitars are not quite as heavy-handed as you are. So I think it's set up where it probably should be a 4.5 as well.
All right. Build quality, again, he's done a really, really great job on this. I find this to be a very interesting build all around. I didn't think I was going to like it. I'll be honest with you.
I saw pictures online. I knew I'd like it.
He does a really, really good job. It is not
your most pristine looking builds, but it is very good and very clean. I'm looking inside the sound hole. The maple all looks super clean. No real funky stuff. There is a little bit of black overspray in some of the deals. So I'm not going to say it's the most meticulous looking build, but that said, again, at its price point, that's pretty darn impressive. I'm going to give this one a 4.6.
I think all the Atkins we get in have always impressed me, and we got quite a variety, and they all have a different look and feel to them. But build quality on all of them has been, I think, right up there with the boutique builders that are world renowned, and obviously Atkin is coming all the way from England. I'm going to go right there with you. I'm going to say about a 4.6 for overall build quality.
There you go. Aesthetics, I think this one just knocked it out. Like I said before, I'm not a black guitar person. I mean, you get fingerprints all over. I'm already looking in the monitor up here. I can see fingerprints, but it's still the Pearl. Come on. Pearloid stuff is, you got to realize at one point that was super valuable, man. That's the coolest stuff you could ever find.
I know in like the tenor banjo and the plectrum banjo world, they got so gaudy with the mother of toilet seat fake pearl plastic, and it took over and got so gaudy. This is very refined and still very attractive looking. And the black, it really offsets the pearl the binding and everything. I think it's a really cool looking guitar.
I would have thought it was nice with the guitar binding and the pick guard. I'm going to tell you where it really took it over the edge for me. The neck binding, I love how that contrasts on here. I wouldn't have expected that, but overall, this peghead veneer, this is where it's all at. That's what makes a big difference right here. I'm giving it a 4.9 in the look. I think it's really, really cool.
Yeah, when I first saw it on this website, I was the same way. I was like, that's just a cool looking guitar. It's not for everybody, but it definitely has a mojo going for it. So I'm going to give it a 4.9 as well.
Passing the Shoppe Sustainable Mission, again, we don't know all of the details of them. I'm sure he does a really, really good job, but since we are uncertain, I'm going to say we are going to go ahead and plant 5 trees in its place, and we'll hope that it does a good job.
Error on the side of caution.
We always do that way. Overall value, this is a really good price point. To get this kind of level, especially, I mean, he does such a great job for just canon sounding guitars. If you're wanting vintage, in-your-face guitars, they sound great. This is the only thing I know that looks like this, and to find it under $5,000, I think that's a pretty darn good value. So again, I'm going to go with a 4.9. I think this is a great value guitar.
Yeah, I think it's not for everyone, but the people that do get it and appreciate it, you couldn't ask for a better price on a guitar built this well and that looks that cool and set up where it is. So I'm going to say about a 4.75. All right, John, as usual, we like to answer these questions for the viewer. Who is this guitar for? Who would be the ideal guitar owner?
And if you are a rock star or wannabe rock star or country star, if you're a wannabe star, if you have sat in your basement and you have a microphone that sits,
if your
you
grandma
need
had
this
a toilet
guitar.
seat that looked like this.
No, honestly, if you are looking for that vintage Gibson sound and you want it to kind of be a blinged out character, like you said, there's so much mojo happening here.
It's a attention getter for sure.
There's nothing like this. If I was starting a country gig, this is the one I'd have to have right here.
Big old frilly guitar strap. How would you say the instrument sounds? Can you describe it? We already said
We did
it's got that
boisterous.
old Gibson.
The thing I like about his guitars, especially when it comes to the Gibson style guitars that he has, there's a difference between what I consider modern Gibson sound and a vintage Gibson sound, and I even find it to be more of a difference than the modern Dreadnought sound or Martin sound versus the vintage one. Those are closer together than what I think of when I think of the vintage Gibson sounds, and I think this has that with a little bit more extra. Like I said, they're really in your face, and they've just got a little extra going on.
I would agree entirely with that. What would you say the cons are for this? And I think I already have one or two of my own. But if you had to find some cons,
well, obviously, if you're not into flashy guitar, this is not the one for you. It's also a unique sound. If you're, again, not looking for a bluegrass dread or that kind of deal, or you are more of a fan of the, again, I hope that last segment didn't come off as like the modern Gibson sound's not any good. It's a different sound. If that's the sound you're going for, this is not the one for you.
And I think for me, normally when we look at a guitar like this and it's got beautiful woods like maple back and sides, you love to be able to see the grains of it. Obviously, when you get a black top and black sides
Johnny
and back,
Cash never
he didn't
cared.
appreciate the Tiger
Never
Stripe
did he
flames
care
and
what wood was underneath.
that is one of the downsides. If you're one of those people that just loves to look at the wood grain, you're not going to get that on this. But it makes up for it in other areas with the beautiful mother of pearl Purloid. So John, if you own this guitar, how are you going to get the most out of it? If somebody bought this guitar, what do you think the ideal situation for playing
Don't
this is?
hide it. This is a guitar that you just don't hide. If you're just going to be sitting, I mean, I'm not going to say a person that plays for themselves is not going to get enjoyment out of this, but this guitar needs to be seen with somebody.
I can imagine bringing that to a jam session. That's going to catch a lot of attention.
There's so much character happening in here. So if you're going to get the most out of it, I say get it out there. Make sure people get a chance to see it. You know, because yes, it sounds great. Yes, it plays great. But more than anything, it's got character. This is just, it's lively. It makes me feel like I got to do a stage slide. That's what it makes me feel like I got to do.
Country music stage slide. That's what the world needs.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Atkin J43.
It's making me wish that I had some black pearl around this.
You do.
Some
You got
pearl
the
around
black
the black
top
top.
rocking today. This was black top show today. Guys, Atkin has built some great guitars. We've also done a video here not too long ago of another J43 style that was a little bit extra. That was the J43 Reserve, which has the Adirondack spruce. Anyway, you'll get to see more about that. We did a video about it. It's right here. You can click on this little icon and be able to check out the J43 Reserve, which is another variation of the same guitar. And again, I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. I enjoy getting to talk about it, especially when I get so much mojo. This is a lot of fun.
Mojo in the room.
We'll see you guys on the next guitar review.